Pluto the Bloodhound. Mickey Mouse had always been a determined and resourceful adventurer, and today was no different. It was a crisp winter morning, and Mickey had set out with one goal in mind: to catch the notorious villain, Black Pete. Mickey adjusted his scarf, pulled his hat lower over his ears, and tightened his boots before starting down the snowy street. Pluto, his loyal companion, bounced alongside him, his tail wagging with excitement. "Come on, Pluto, let's catch that rascal Black Pete," Mickey called, his voice full of energy. Pluto barked happily, his eyes bright with the hope of being a part of the adventure. But Mickey, with a smile, shook his head and gently patted Pluto's head. "Sorry, buddy, you're not exactly built for this kind of hunt. You're more of a good-natured dog than a bloodhound." Pluto's ears drooped and his tail stopped wagging as Mickey continued, "Stay here and keep the house warm, pal. I'll be back with Black Pete in no time." Pluto watched Mickey walk away, the excitement draining from his heart. He had always wanted to help Mickey, to prove that he was capable of more than just being a loyal pet. But Mickey's words stung, and Pluto felt a little left out. With a sigh, he wandered through the snow-covered streets, trying to shake off the disappointment. As Pluto walked down the icy path, his thoughts wandered to what he could do to prove his worth. He wasn't a bloodhound, but surely there was something he could do. Lost in his thoughts, Pluto's ears suddenly perked up at the sound of a commotion nearby. His nose twitched, and he immediately recognized the voice of the butcher calling out. "Stop right there, Bull," the butcher shouted in distress. Pluto's eyes narrowed. It wasn't Black Pete this time, but another troublesome character in town, Naughty Bull, the bulldog. Bull was known for causing trouble around town, and today he was stealing a long string of sausages from the butcher's cart. The butcher, who was always kind to Pluto, had often given him delicious bones, but now he was left helpless as Bull made off with the sausages. "Come back, Bull, you're not getting away with this," the butcher shouted, trying to chase the bulldog. But Bull was fast and strong, and Pluto knew the butcher wouldn't be able to catch him. The opportunity for action was too tempting for Pluto to ignore. Without thinking twice, he sprinted toward the alley where Bull had gone. He wasn't going to let Bull get away with this, no matter what. As Pluto neared the alley, he saw Bull tugging on the sausages, looking over his shoulder at the angry butcher. With a low growl, Pluto launched himself at the sausages and grabbed the other end of the string. "Grr," he growled, pulling as hard as he could. Bull stopped in his tracks, surprised by the sudden resistance. "What do you think you're doing, you little mutt?" he snarled. He turned and tugged hard on the sausages, trying to yank them away from Pluto. The two dogs were now engaged in a fierce tug-of-war. Bull was much larger and stronger than Pluto, and with each pull, Pluto was dragged a little closer to the alley's end. Despite the cold and the slippery ice beneath his paws, Pluto held on, his determination growing with every pull. The sausages stretched tight between the two dogs, and Pluto dug his paws into the snow, trying to keep his footing. He wasn't about to let Bull win this time. Just then, Pluto heard a familiar voice in the distance. "Stop, thief!" Mickey was shouting, his voice echoing down the alley. Pluto's ears perked up. He looked over his shoulder and saw Mickey chasing after none other than Black Pete, who was running frantically with a sack of stolen loot. The two were coming closer and closer, and Pluto realized that the alley was becoming a battleground between the two sides. The string of sausages that Pluto and Bull were fighting over now stretched across the entire alley, acting as an unexpected trap for the villain. Black Pete, looking behind him to see how close Mickey was, didn't notice the sausages until it was too late. With a loud WWWW, he tripped over the taut string and crashed face first into the icy ground, his sack of loot spilling out onto the snow. Mickey, who had been hot on Black Pete's heels, took full advantage of the situation. "Gotcha!" Mickey cried triumphantly, grabbing Black Pete by the arm and tying him up with a rope. "That's what you get for messing with the good people of town." Meanwhile, Bull, startled by the sudden chaos, yelled and fled down the alley, disappearing into the snowy streets. The butcher, who had caught up with the scene, looked at Pluto in awe. "Well, Albie, you sure showed Bull who's boss," he said, gathering the sausages with a grateful smile. Mickey knelt down beside Pluto, giving him a hearty pat on the back. "Pluto, you did it. You caught Black Pete. You're a real bloodhound after all, my friend." Pluto's heart swelled with pride. His tail wagged furiously as Mickey praised him, and the disappointment of earlier melted away. He had proven himself, not just to Mickey, but to everyone in town. As the police arrived to take Black Pete into custody, and the butcher thanked Pluto for his bravery, Mickey and Pluto walked home together, their hearts light and happy. The sun was setting behind them, casting a warm glow on the snowy streets. That night, as Pluto curled up by the fireplace, he reflected on the day's adventure. He may not have been the traditional bloodhound Mickey had imagined, but he had still caught the villain and helped save the day. Pluto drifted off to sleep, feeling like the proudest dog in the world, knowing that he had earned his place as Mickey's true partner in crime fighting. And in his dreams, Pluto imagined future adventures, his ears pricked for the next call to action. He was ready for anything after all. A real bloodhound's work was never done.